About a year ago, I came across an Instagram reel that read, "Let go or be dragged." And I remember stopping and reading it again and again and again because something about those words just found me. At that time, I was struggling with something that probably sounds familiar to many parents. My son Neil. Now, anyone who knows Neil knows that he's incredibly self aware, very intelligent, very thoughtful, opinionated, and completely unafraid to question things. In many ways, he's a copy of me. At least I want to believe so. Because as a teenager, I was exactly the same. I challenged ideas, asked questions, pushed back when something didn't make sense. I spent years arguing with my father. And yet, the funny thing is that beneath all those arguments, he trusted me deeply. I still remember him preparing to meet my brother in law's family before my sister got married, that is. And he sat with me asking questions like a child preparing for an exam. And I told him what I thought and what he should be doing, and he listened. Not because I controlled him, but because trust had quietly grown underneath all those disagreements. So, when Neil arrived in my life, and strangely, he's born exactly on my father's birthday. Anyways, not to digress, when Neil arrived in my life with that same independent spirit, I thought I understood what I was dealing with. But I was wrong. Nobody told me that raising someone so much like myself would throw me in the deep end. One day Neil would tell me I was controlling too much. And I would spend weeks reflecting on it, adjusting, learning to give more freedom. And then after I finally relaxed a bit, he would tell me that I did not care for him and that I'm not fighting for him. He wanted space, but he also wanted connection. He wanted independence, but he also wanted support. And then because I love him, every piece of feedback felt important. I took it seriously. I wanted to get it right, and I wanted to be the kind of mother that truly mattered. And before I knew it, I was caught in a whirlwind. He would express how he felt in the moment, and I would treat it as the final truth. And I would twist myself into knots trying to solve it, only to discover that the situation had completely changed by the next day. Because the truth is, sometimes people don't know what exactly they want yet, especially when they're still trying to figure themselves out. And suddenly those words made sense to me. Let go or be dragged. Not because I needed to stop loving my son, not because I needed to stop caring, and not because I should become indifferent. I needed to stop participating in the drama. That was my part. I was trying to solve a puzzle while the pieces were still moving. I was trying to treat every emotion as a permanent instruction, and I was carrying questions that didn't even belong to me. And somewhere in that realization, everything fell into place because Neil is allowed to have his own journey. He is allowed to be confused. He is allowed to change his mind. He is allowed to figure out who he is becoming. And I'm allowed to stop making that my full-time job too. My role is to love him, guide him when invited, be available, do the right things, and then trust that life will meet him where it needs to. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that difficult people are not always difficult because of what they do. Sometimes they're difficult because we refuse to stop pulling on a rope that should have been dropped long ago. Think about it. That child, a friend, a partner, a sibling, a colleague. someone we desperately want to understand us, desperately want to change and finally become who we need them to become. And while we keep pulling, they keep pulling back, and both get dragged. And for a long time, I thought letting go meant giving up. And now I think it means something very different. It means accepting what is true. Not what I wish were true, not what could be true one day, but what is true right now. And once I see reality clearly, I can then decide how to move forward. Which brings me to something people ask often. How do you know if you've actually let go? Good question, right? I don't think letting go means you stop caring or stop thinking about the situation or the relationship suddenly becomes easy. I think, you've let go when you stop waking up every day trying to solve it. When you stop replaying the same conversations and when you stop putting your life on hold until somebody else figures out themselves. When your attention returns to your own path, your own growth, your own story, and your own peace. And what does that look like in practice? For me, it sounds something like this. I have done what is mine to do. The rest is not mine to carry. They are allowed to have their own journey, and I am allowed to have mine. When they know what they need, I trust that clarity will find them. And until then, I will keep living my life. And perhaps if we all did this, as much as it sounds selfish, just imagine a world where we all took care of ourselves and stopped meddling with other people's lives. How beautiful that would be, right? And that's the question I want to leave you with today. Who or what are you still pulling on? A person? An apology? An explanation? A version of reality that no longer exists? If you stopped pulling, think about what could become possible. Because sometimes the bravest thing we can do is not hold on tighter. Sometimes the bravest thing we can do is to pick up our bags and continue on our own journey.